And listen, we say his name, and lo and behold, he shall appear.
Yeah, we have Sami Zayn. And again, as I mentioned earlier, Agora in Cleveland, Friday night, 11 o'clock. Doors open at 10. And it's going to be Sami Zayn and Friends do Cleveland. So make sure you're a part of it. Go to agoracleveland.com for all the details and to buy tickets. And what's amazing, Sami, and, Bully was just talking about what you're able to do, the art of selling. Like, you do so much, and it's a handsome one. You do so much with your face, your expressions, how you sell in the ring. And, doing a comedy show, it's all about expressions and facials. And the first half of your career, you're in a mask. So it's amazing what you've been able to do. And it's really, to me, some of your strengths are what you do with your facials. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's what I've been. First of all, hello, and thanks for having me.
Hello.
Yeah, I jumped in the middle of a sentence and then just showed up. So apologies, and thanks for having me. But to answer your question, when I first got to developmental, or first got to NXT, early NXT, when it still was developmental, that was one of the. I mean, it was a question mark for me too because it had been so long. 11 years working, under a different persona with a hood and all that stuff, and finding different ways to convey emotion that didn't rely on my face. That, it was a question mark for me, but also for other people. And I wasn't necessarily, confident in it or overconfident in it, but the reaction to it and the response to it was a lot of what you had just said, where it seemed to be one of my strengths. So, I rolled with it. But I think those years working under a mask, I think is actually very important. And I think it really helped me develop and not just rely on facials. You know what I mean? Like you have to use your whole body and I don't know, just maybe a different approach altogether. But I actually think like if I was running a school and I had a little promotion, I think I would make everybody work under a mask for like 3 to 6 months at the very least. Everybody should experience it, in my opinion.
Sami, we were just talking about how well you fight from underneath. You're selling. As I've spoke about with you, you've mastered the art of the struggle. Do you consciously put yourselves in this position in your matches now? Do you realize that this is such a strength that you allow yourself to be put down just so you can fight up from underneath?
Yeah, I mean, I think at its core, that's what we do. Like, yeah, of course. That's like, I don't know.
But if you watch wrestling, a lot of talent are not very comfortable putting themselves in that situation because a lot of talent feel that they need to keep themselves strong. Why do you feel like you don't need to, quote unquote, keep yourself strong?
Well, it's like a paradox, right? Like you can't look strong unless you've looked weak, right? Like you can't, if nothing hurts, then how strong are you to overcome that, right? So like you just need obstacles to overcome. I was joking with somebody about something about this exact topic, like selling and all that. And I was going on a rant about it. And I was like, if you had to like sum up wrestling in one sentence, it'd be like, oh no, that guy's in trouble. That's it. Like, that's it at its core. It's like you have to be in trouble or like being a baby face or a match or whatever. It could all be boiled down to that one sentence. Oh, no, that guy's in trouble. And how's he going to get out of trouble? Like, at its core, it's, we do all these moves and we do all these things. What's the heartbeat of what we're actually doing? What's the core of what we're all what we're doing? It's a struggle. I love that you use that word. It's a struggle. It's a struggle to keep your head above water. And I also joke, this is a little like insider stuff here, but like I'm blown up a lot, we're like, I'm like legitimately fighting
struggling
for my I'm like, I joke about it. I even joked with Roman like ages ago about it. Like it's called being a method actor. Like if you want to look blown, the best way to look blown is to be blown. If you want to look like you're fighting for your life and you're struggling just to stay in the fight, the best way is to actually actually physically experience that. Over my own bad cardio, but whatever.
Speaking of which, Bron Breakker, talk to us. I mean, I've had high expectations from him. You've been in the ring with the guy, but you also have a very important match. Bully talks about the struggle. You say about keeping your head about you're the champ going in. You have another very, very hard-hitting match against Bron Breakker.
Yeah, and it's again just approaching it from that same respect, which is like, it's an interesting one when you're a perennial underdog, but then you become a champion as well. So you still have to have that sort of confidence of like, hey, he's also like a rookie and I'm the veteran. So it's like, hey, you're in my world, but you are very dangerous. And it's kind of towing that line of like, this guy has a physical advantage over me while I have theoretically an intellectual or whatever advantage on my side. But look, anybody who takes a look at him, his trajectory has been incredible. His strength, his speed, obviously, it's like it jumps off the page. And I think also, actually, even personality wise, I know he's not there yet in the sense that fans haven't seen it yet, but this guy will have a very magnetic personality eventually when fans start to see that side of him. So I think with enough time and enough finessing and just the right people telling him the right things, which, as you know, in our industry could always go awry with the wrong people telling you the wrong things. But I think if he stays the path, he's going to be a very complete player, and he's going to be about more than just, a strong guy who runs really fast and hits a great spear. I think there's a lot more to his game than that, and he's going to be good. I just hope it's not at my expense at SummerSlam. So that's what I'm, that's what I'm focused on right now.
Sammy, this is a big weekend for you. Obviously, you have the Intercontinental Championship. You're going to be defending it on Saturday at SummerSlam in front of, 45, 50,000 people. And again, that's going to be exclusively on Peacock to make sure you're a part of SummerSlam on Saturday. But also Friday night, you got the Agora. So you're doing a show at the Agora. Again, go to agoracleveland.com for all the details, and you can get tickets. I'm kind of hoping maybe there might be a name on a guest list somewhere for me so I can go in for free. But regardless, are you nervous going into Friday night? Because our very own Mark Henry did a stand-up show in February. He did stand-up comedy for the first time, and he knocked it out of the park. He's a natural. Are you a little nervous going in to Friday night?
Yes. Yes, yeah. Whether you are good at it or not, like there's always going to be that stress. Just like wrestling, I know it's not a cool thing to say as a 20+ year veteran, but like I'm still nervous before matches all the time, and it's not nervousness like the way it was when I first broke in, where it's like, oh, just don't screw anything up. It's just nerves from I know what's physically on the line. You can get injured and all that kind of stuff. And, I've always put a lot of pressure on myself to put out a quality piece of art, whatever I'm doing. Like I want to do it as good as it can possibly be. So there's just pressure and adrenaline and everything like that. And I don't know, maybe it's not, sounding cool to say that, but that's the truth. And so these comedy shows, like it's not something I have 20 years of experience in doing. I have 20 years of experience in performing, so there's a certain level of comfort, much like Mark Henry was able to walk on stage and be comfortable and great, because you develop a natural sort of aptitude for comedic rhythm and timing and like understanding the musicality and the flow. You kind of develop a lot of that just through wrestling and doing wrestling at a high level for 20 years like Mark did, 20 plus. So the overlap is there, but still, these shows have my name on it. I'm putting them together. I'm directing them, producing them, doing all these things. So it's a lot. And there's a lot of moving parts to it. And it's like a huge source of stress. But I think I am sickly and weirdly addicted to that stress, which is like even with wrestling, before matches and stuff like that, like I kind of need that. If it's too easy, I'm like confused. I need a lot mentally on my plate. Maybe again, it's going back to what Bully said about like the struggle. Maybe I live that struggle, and I need to struggle with something right up to the very end. Otherwise, it's like, what are we doing here? If I could just walk out onto a stage and I don't need to think about it, and I'm gonna just knock it out of the park, like what? Same with the wrestling match. I'll just go do what I know it will work. Like, where's the struggle? What are you overcoming? What are you really achieving? You know what I mean? So I think that struggle, it's not just a gimmick, and it's not just when you take heat, and it's not just when you sell. I think it's like a life thing. You know, it's a mentality with how you approach everything.
I know I'm looking forward to it. I will be there. I'm definitely going to buy tickets. I'm on the site right now, agoracleveland.com, to buy tickets, and tickets are very inexpensive. So if you're going out to Cleveland for SummerSlam, as you guys know, when it comes to WrestleMania, it's not just about the event, it's about the entire week. That's the same way SummerSlam has become too. So make this a part of your SummerSlam weekend. Be a part of, this show, Sami Zayn and Friends Do Cleveland. What friends? We got about 60 seconds. What friends could we possibly see on Friday night?
Well, I like to leave that stuff for a surprise, but with WWE in town, it's fair to assume that a couple of WWE superstars will be there. Last one, Trish was there. Bailey, Cody showed up. So you never know who you're going to get, and that's part of the spirit of the show. Is you don't know what you're going to get, but I promise you, if I put my name on something, I'm going out of my way to make it as good as possible. So it will be good, and you will be rewarded for showing up.